Hey, what's up, people? Well, back for another fight card prediction. I'm going to be breaking down an absolute doozy of a card here for UFC 218. First of all, I'm just going to say that we've got the tough card on Friday, but we've got like 5 or 6 fights on it already. So I'm thinking I'm going to wait till after Wednesday, till after the last show airs, and then Thursday I'll get a prediction video out for you, so we can get through that. But I just thought I've did all the tape for fights that are on Friday that I've seen so far, and I've did all 218, so I thought it was just best to really get this out as soon as I possibly could, and then hopefully later on in the week I will get a tough finale. From what I'm hearing, there is 6 fights already, but I'm hearing there's going to be 5 or 6 fights added from the Tough show, so pretty much the whole cast of this season of Tough's going to get a fight in the UFC, which is I'm not the biggest fan of, but say I don't make the rules. So we hit 1,500 subscribers. Over the moon with that, considering I started off the year at 800. I've nearly doubled the tally from what I was really only looking to get to maybe 1,200. To hit 1,500 is huge for me, so thank you very much. Coming off a fairly decent card at UFC Shanghai, pick-wise I did alright, betting-wise I did alright as well. So, but UFC 218, this is a great card. Jose Aldo trying to get his belt back as he rematches against Max Holloway for the UFC Featherweight Championship. We have Francis Ngannou against Alistair Overeem. We have Eddie Alvarez against Justin Gaethje. Henry Cejudo against Sergio Pettis. There is just really good fights all the way throughout, even on the Fight Pass prelims to the televised prelims to the main card on the pay-per-view, which is just awesome. Really looking forward to talking about this card and running into it in a second. So, as again, just as always, leave your comments, likes, your picks down below. If you disagree with any of my picks, then let me know about it, because I say that's what we're all here, just to chat and see what your perspectives is. I like looking into other people's perspective on certain fights, and I did that on Twitter the last few nights, and it's going to be an interesting card, because a lot of people have got their kind of polls flagged onto people that they really like. Well, I'm not really 100% sure about. So we're going to start down in the women's strawweight division, as we have Amanda Cooper facing off against the GOAT, Angela Magana. Angela Magana, I mean, what can we really say about this? She's the biggest gobshite, I think, on social media. Not that I follow her, but I always seem to see people retweeting her or doing something or saying some crazy stuff on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that. As a fighter, don't rate her. I got to see her UFC. The funny thing with Angela Magana was, when I was in Vegas for this, she was walking around acting like she was the big star, and she was actually asking people, would you like a picture with me, would you like this, like an autograph, and I was like, oh, calm down, like nobody really cares, and nobody, to be honest with you, nobody, I think there was one guy that got a picture with her and nobody really cared, and she kind of got whooped on by Michelle Waterson, who is literally a 105er, so the part where I thought she might have an advantage on the ground, Waterson really stifled her, took her back in a majority of positions, and just really was the dominant fighter throughout, and then got the finish, and we haven't seen her since. So literally the only thing we've heard is the whole Cyborg situation where she got hit, and she called the police, just kind of like Colby Covington did as well. So yeah, Amanda Cooper, I don't think she's overly great herself. I actually enjoyed her fight with Anna Elmos in Belfast last year. Then she got a step up. Really, at the time, we only heard a little bit about Cynthia Calvillo, but then we realised very quickly how good this girl actually really is. And she went in there and she really wrecked Amanda Cooper on the ground, just like she's really showed in every fight so far. I do think that Cooper has some decent hands. She showed that in the show, and throughout that, she looks like she can put it together. I saw her in Belfast last year, and she looked great, but you could see there was just it's hard seeing women cut that much weight to go down to these divisions, and it was quite hard to see Amanda Cooper do that. But in this matchup, I like Amanda Cooper to beat Angela Magana. I'm not going to pick Angela Magana. I would literally feel like I'm stabbing myself in the heart by picking Angela Magana. I think that Cooper's the younger, she's a more explosive fighter. She has to be careful on the ground, because we've seen obviously with the Calvillo, I think she's levels above what Magana is on the ground. But Magana has been around a long time. She's beat some fairly decent fighters as well. But I like Amanda Cooper. I like her to come out, fight at range, use her boxing, which I think clearly she has the advantage in here, and then look if Ngannou rushes in, get in the clinch and land some big elbows, some big knees, but really just fight on the feet. There's no really need to go to the ground in this one for Amanda Cooper. If she keeps us on the feet, she wins fairly convincingly. I'm going to pick Amanda Cooper via possibly a 30-27 decision. If not, a fairly clear 29-28 decision, but probably 80% confident that Amanda Cooper can beat Angela Ngannou, and then that's hopefully the last we see of Angela Ngannou in the UFC. Heavyweight division, Justin Willis against Alan Crowder. I watched the Alan Crowder fight again from the Dana White's contender series last night, and it did not blow me away. It was against Dante Mays, and it just did not. It was sloppy, and his fights outside the UFC, I've seen him in Bellator as well, just sloppy fights, and I was not really impressed with it whatsoever. I was in Glasgow for Justin Willis's debut in the UFC against James Mulheron, and did fairly decently, to be honest with you. I thought he did enough in kind of every situation that he was put in. He was landing the better strikes. He was just kind of dictating the pace. It was a sloppy fight to watch, but I did think he did enough to win the fight fairly convincingly. And I think in this one here, I think he will have an advantage as well. Alan Crowder on that fight, on the contender series, he kept going to the back and losing a lot of energy, expelling a lot of energy, trying to get him to the ground. And then he was getting reversed by this guy who's clearly not that good in the ground, and then letting this guy get off his back all the time as well. So I just don't like what I see out of Crowder, and I think Justin Willis, coming from the better camp, not that should really matter, but he's probably training with better people, and he's sparring with better people, and he's definitely grappling with better people, your Cormiers and your Velasquez and probably Rockhold and so on, if the guys are in the gym. I just think Willis is going to be a little bit too big. I think he's more towards your 260 range, where Crowder's like your 240, 242 in that range. So Justin Willis, fairly confident in picking him to win this one here. Potentially, I think he could get a TKO victory. In fact, I'm going to pick a TKO victory. I'm going to go early round number 3 for Justin Willis in that one there. Light heavyweight division with Jeremy Kimball against Dominic Reyes. I really like Dominic Reyes in this one, and I don't know if I'm being a little bit too confident in him, because from what we've seen before he came into the UFC, we've seen that he's got a deadly kicking game. If you put your hands down, or you leave your hands down by your hips, he can get his leg up there very, very quickly, and he can pop your head clean off your neck. In his UFC debut, he really had a really nice finish to that, where he beat Joachim Christensen, who, let's be honest, is not UFC quality, never really was, and beat him very, very quickly with a nice combination back in June. Jeremy Kimball, I think he is tough, but I think he can be put down by fast twitch kind of fighters. By saying that, like somebody who can get like I say with Dominic Reyes, can get the leg up there very quickly, can put combinations together. We've seen that in the Peugeot fight, the Rodrigo de Lima fight, Marcus de Lima fight, that once he got hit, he went down and he started covering up, and de Lima's really only got one round in him, and he got caught in that one round. I think Dominic Reyes is all around just the better fighter, but Jeremy Kimball is very, very he can be tough to get out of there as well. But I just think that Reyes has got power. I think he's got a little bit of speed. I do think he uses angles a lot better. I think he can stop the takedowns of Kimball. And I wasn't really, well, to an extent I was a little bit impressed with Jeremy Kimball in his debut against, his last fight against Josh Stansbury, where he got him out there fairly quick with kind of like a chopping right hand kind of right into his neck as well, which was quite funny watching that over again. Confident in Dominic Reyes. I think he can get a finish. I think he can get it done early as well. But in saying that, it wouldn't surprise me if this goes into 2-3 and then goes to decision as well. So it's either going to be Kimball, it's either going to be like a decision for Reyes, or a TKO for Reyes. I like Reyes a lot in this one, but Kimball could make it dirty towards the end of that fight. So I'm going to pick Dominic Reyes, TKO, end of round number 1. And your main fight on the UFC Fight Pass prelims, we have Abdul Razak Al Hassan against Sabah Homasi. Abdul Razak Alhassan really let a lot of people down, including myself, last time out against Omari Akhmedov, where he threw a lot of really bad strikes that got countered by getting taken down by Akhmedov, and that's obviously where I thought he could stop the takedowns. I'll be honest with you, I thought he could definitely stop them against Alhassan with his judo background and so on, but really he couldn't do it, and he lost rounds through that. Sabah Homasi is not going to do that. He's going to brawl with Abdul Razak Alhassan, and Alhassan is going to lay the hammer down on this guy. I'd be very surprised if this goes into round number 2, because Sabah Homasi gets hit, and he gets hit a lot. In that fight with him means he got butchered with some elbows, and he got beat up a little bit as well. Even before that, you seen him in Titan on the Ultimate Fighter show. He was getting hit with big shots, and I don't see this really. Could Sabah Homasi go into the clinch? No, because I think he's going to get tossed around if he does that. I just think that the explosive raw power that Alhassan has is going to catch, and he's going to catch early. So I think Alhassan is definitely going to be one of my more confident picks, but I think I need to be careful, because I was very confident in him against that Akhmedov fight, but he was going to look for takedowns with Akhmedov, where I don't think Homasi will do that. So I'm going to go Alhassan. I'm going to go another round 1 TKO victory there, devastating one there. Moving on to the prelims, we're starting off in the women's strawweight division again for this one. Felice Little Bulldog Herrig against Courtney Casey. This, I was really when I saw this last week when I was watching tape, I was definitely picking Courtney Casey. Now I've completely changed my opinion on this after watching more of Felice Herrig recently, and seen some things in Courtney Casey's last couple of fights that I think that Herrig will capitalise on. We'll start off with Casey in her last fight with Jessica Aguilar. I loved what she did off her back in that one. She beat the utter shit out of Jessica Aguilar off her back by attacking with big up kicks going up high, and then she was attacking the thighs and especially the knees with low kicks, and winning rounds through that as well. I didn't understand where Jessica Aguilar was standing there and taking them shots. She should have jumped into the guard of Courtney Casey and tried to at least land some ground and pound. She did on a few occasions, but she was doing nothing with it, and she was just losing the fight from Courtney Casey literally being laid on her back. When it got to the feet, Casey came in with big whipping hooks, and then she would follow that up with knees in the clinch and big head kicks to kind of finish off the combinations as well. So a left, right, and then throw a big left high kick. And she really put a beating on Jessica Aguilar, who was coming back after a few years off. But the one thing that I saw when she was on her back and throwing those shots was Aguilar was just standing there. I don't think if this goes into the same position here, Felice Herrig is not going to stand there and allow that to happen. I think she will jump into the guard of Courtney Casey. I think she's the better ground fighter than what Courtney Casey is. And Felice Herrig's striking has started to come through as well. So when you put everything together, I said I was going to pick Courtney Casey. She was definitely going to be picking mine, but 2-3 days ago, and I've changed my mind. I'm going for the little bulldog Felice Herrig. I think that she has kind of turned it around. Mentally, she's turned it around. That fight with Kylie Curran, now I know Kylie Curran is not a good fighter, and I don't rate her in the slightest, and I don't think she'll be in the UFC much longer, but she's put together a really nice win streak in the last 16 months. I mean, Alexa Grasso is another kind of hyped up fighter, but she has got talents as well, and Felice Herrig did very well stifling the talents of what Grasso has, and then she fought a really dogged competitor in Justine Kish, who I think is really good. She likes to get in there, scrap, get in a dog fight, and Herrig just kind of held her down, was faster on the feet, was faster in transition. Anywhere that Kish wanted to go, Herrig really had an answer for it, and I see that being pretty much like this fight here. But Casey, she can fade off towards the end of the fight, where I think Herrig keeps a really nice pace throughout, and I just think she's a little bit of a better fighter here. I say it wouldn't surprise me if Courtney Casey wins, because she was a pick that I did like to start off with, but the more I looked into it, kind of like the Alex Garcia fight from last week, where I initially went with Muslim, and then I changed my pick to Alex Garcia, which turned out to be right. Hopefully it goes with this one here. So I'm going to go Felice Herrig. I'm going to go a unanimous decision, and that'll be 4 fights in a row for her there, where she's on a win streak. she's putting herself up into that and high into the rankings probably as well. So Felice Herrig by decision. Interesting fight. David Teymur against Drakkar Klose. Been going back and forward in this one a little bit as well. I was telling people before the Lando Venata fight that David Teymur's for real. I think he's going to be a really good fighter once he really puts it all together. He's a devastating striker. Very, very fast combinations. Heavy leg kicks. Really angles off well. I think his takedown defense is really starting to get better. And some of the videos that I've seen of him, he's definitely working on that defense of not being taken down. Because if this guy stays on his feet, I think he's got the advantage over a lot of guys in the lightweight division with his speed, ferocity, with his power, with his velocity as well. So, Drakkar Klose, he stopped the hype train, and like, it was a fight. I think I said in my video as well, I picked Gaetjhe. I thought he might have had enough in him to win that fight, but I did think that Drakkar Klose was very, very live, and I thought that he had an opportunity, and he really shut down Gaetjhe after round one with a really nice clinch game. Put him against the cage, got takedowns through that, and really just stifled Mark Gaetjhe. I think that David Teymur is not going to... I think that was a good fight for Teymur to probably watch, because he's seeing what Drakkar Klose is going to do. He's going to want to grapple, because I think that Teymur is definitely the better fighter, striker here. So as long as he keeps his back off the cage, uses angles, and that's something that the All-Stars team do fairly well, is be light on the feet, use angles to move around, like the kind of Gustafsson style that he's done in the past. I think that's what he can do here, but I see Drakkar Klose winning rounds as well. I'm going to pick David Teymur. I'm not confident it's going to go in one of my least confident picks, but I think if he gets off to a fast start, wins the first round, I think he can definitely win either 2 or 3 to win a 29-28 decision. But on the other hand, it would not surprise me if I seen Drakkar Klose win a 29-28 decision. So feel more confident picking David Teymur in this spot. I'm going to pick him via a decision here. Welterweight division with Alex Oliveira against Yancy Medeiros. Good fight, really good fight. I like Alex Oliveira a lot in this one. I think it's going to be one of my more confident picks on the card. I think Oliveira's a tough guy to kind of get ready for. He's very long, he's very languid, he's very strong. Got a really good grip when he gets you to the ground, and good top heavy fighter whose position is really good. But he's also starting to put his hands together, and he's got that kind of awkward power. And he showed that in the Ryan Flair fight. He showed that in the Means fight as well, where he hit him with a few shots. But I like his grappling, and I think that's something that he can use in this fight here. Yancy Medeiros is scrappy as hell, coming out of Hawaii. Liked his last 2 wins over Sean Spencer and Eric Silva. 2 guys, I think I picked him in both, and I think he was underdog in both fights as well, which was crazy. Especially Sean Spencer, he should never have been the underdog. And he handled business and got finishes in those 2 fights as well. But I just think that Alex Oliveira, I think he's just his tenacity and his overall strength is going to be too much for Yancy Medeiros. I think he's going to kind of ragdoll him around a little bit. Medeiros does have submissions, yes. I feel he's an alright kind of submission game, but I just think that Alex Oliveira is going to wear him out and he's going to finish him. I actually think he's going to submit him here. So I'm going to go a second round submission for Alex Cowboy Oliveira. And the main fight of the prelims, we have Charles do Bronx Oliveira against the Irish Dragon Paul Felder. When I first said this matchup, I was initially very, very heavy. First thoughts was on Paul Felder. And as the fights got closer and the more I've kind of looked into the fights a little bit, I have changed my mind a little. So it's one of these fights I'm pretty much 55-45 in favour of one guy. So really not a confident pick on my side, and that's going to be Charles Oliveira. Paul Felder, dynamite striking. I saw it firsthand in Glasgow against Stevie Ray. That was a hostile place to come into, but during that fight week, Paul Felder was so focused. It was the first fight after his dad passing away. It was pretty tough seeing him in some situations. He brought a lot of people over with him, but he was focused. Literally focused down to a T for fight week and ready for that fight. He knew that he was up against it with Stevie and the home fans, because he knew they were all going to be in his back, but he had a lot of people there and he just went out there and he pretty much destroyed Stevie Ray. pretty convincingly. Got him with the knees and then some heavy ground and pound got out there. I was talking to Duke Rufus, who is now his head trainer at obviously Rufus Sport, and he was talking very highly about Paul Felder and his work ethic and just how much work he really puts in. And some of the fellow fighters who work alongside Mike Biggie Rhodes on Twitter and that, they've all spoken about this guy, a serious work ethic, and it's just a really tough guy to get out of there. Oliveira is a guy that is so up and down with me because you can see some greatness and some potential in him, but then you can see him being undisciplined and missing weight and not looking good in fights, then getting submitted by people like Anthony Pettis, who he's probably better on the ground, and he had opportunities to probably submit him, Pettis, in that one there. Like the fact he's back at lightweight, wouldn't surprise me if he misses weight at lightweight, because it's like I say, he's a little bit undisciplined. But in that fight with Anthony Pettis, he struck on the feet. He had enough to kind of deal with Pettis on the feet, and then as he kind of faded throughout, he just kind of got caught. Paul Felder, to his credit, keeps a really good pace, and it's thinking about it now, it's actually good that he's got Pettis, Rufus Sport guy. He'll know all about Charles Oliveira. Duke Rufus will know about Oliveira. But I just see Charles Oliveira finding a submission in this one, hanging off the neck or on the back of Paul Felder and getting a finish. I think the Darren Cruikshank not catch him with something as well. So let me see. Was that the other way around? I watched that fight last week. No, he got Darren Cruikshank, of course. But see, he's maybe a little bit underrated with his ground skills as well. I think that Felder comes out strong. But I just see a scenario where Charles Oliveira is going to get into a clinch and he's going to get his back against the cage, and he's going to get an opportunity to get a limb or get on his back and get that position where he could potentially find a submission. So it's like I say, I'm not overly confident in the pick, but I have changed my mind from Paul Felder to Charles Oliveira. As long as Oliveira doesn't get caught and he can find a position where he can maybe get into a clinch or potentially get a single leg for a takedown, then he can make Paul Felder's night very, very difficult. And I'm interested to see what the odds are here. I'm guessing Oliveira will be the underdog, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm going to pick Charles Oliveira. I'm going to pick another submission. I'm going to pick early round number 2 or mid round number 2, but round number 2 nonetheless. But yeah, I'm a little bit back and forth, 55-45 in favour of Oliveira, so see, not overly confident. Moving on to the main card, probably one, if not my most confident picks of the entire card, Tecia Torres against Michelle Waterson. And I'm really, really confident in Tecia Torres in this spot. Yeah, when I watch the tape on Tecia Torres, she's not really explosive, but she's solid in every aspect from a striking, leg kicks, really good leg kicks. She showed that in the Namajunas fight where she was really lighting Namajunas up with some leg kicks in that one there. She ultimately could have won that fight. It's her only loss in her career. Obviously she lost to Spars on the show, but she lost a very, very close decision. I think I actually edged it for Tecia Torres in that fight as well. So, and in this one here, when I look at skill sets, I just see Tecia Torres being better everywhere. I think she's the better grappler. She showed that in the Angel Hill fight. I think she's got really underrated submission game where and she showed that in the last fight with Juliana Lima, who's a very strong girl. She managed to get her out of there. And Michelle Waterson, there's something about her in this fight that I've seen people very, very confident Michelle Waterson here, and I don't see it. I don't see where she's going to have the advantage. Is she going to fight long, use like leg kicks and body kicks to keep Tecia Torres away? I think that Torres is going to be too fast. I think she's going to be in and out, suckling off, mixing in takedowns, and just doing that for 3 rounds constantly. And the line came out last night. She started off at minus 150, got all the way down to I think minus 110, maybe plus 110, plus 100. Sorry, I actually bet her this morning. It was 6 a.m. I was up with the little one. Had a look at my phone and seen that some British odds had been released, and Tecia Torres was minus 120. So I put some money on her in this one here. Fairly confident she can definitely win over the 3 rounds and win every round as well. So I'm going to go Tecia Torres via a 30-27 decision, or if not, if Waterson comes out quick with that really nice karate style, and just uses that to fight at range, where she might win the first round. She could potentially do that. But I'm going to go Tecia Torres via decision. I'm just, like I say, that's going to be probably my most confident picks, if not my number one most confident pick. Lightweight division, what a fight. Eddie Alvarez against Justin Gaethje. I put a tweet out last night that I seen a lot of people are very confident in Justin Gaethje. Now, I love Justin Gaethje. You can't not be a fan of that guy, especially after his UFC debut. He's been doing that in World Series of Fight against lesser guys, but he stepped up, faced a really top guy with really elite hand speed and some good power to go with it in Michael Johnson, and put on probably the fight of the year, the round of the year, without a shadow of a doubt. Was it was the fight of the year. Let's not say round of the year. First round was exceptional, but it was the fight of the year because Michael Johnson had definitely had his moments in that fight as well. Eddie Alvarez, let's talk about it. His last fight, I thought he was on his way to losing to Dustin Poirier. I definitely still think that. If that fight went on, I think he would have lost that fight. But he did turn it around a little bit. He was getting hurt really, really badly. And then Poirier got too reckless, too aggressive, came in and caught Poirier with a nice shot and turned his back against the cage, and then it went from there and he landed illegal blows and the fight was stopped. But Eddie Alvarez is just he's so hard to put out there. Now, I know Conor did it, but Conor, like when he wants to, puts his strikes together so well, and the accumulation of strikes in that fight, albeit being like 7-8 minutes, was far too much for Eddie Alvarez, and he was already out after the first round pretty much. And I think that Eddie is an extremely, extremely live dog in this fight. I'm not confident. I think the line should be a lot closer than this. I think he was minus 245 with Justin Gaethje. I think he should be a lot closer, the line should be a lot closer. Justin Gaethje whipping leg kicks. That's the thing I love about this guy. He comes forward like a Terminator, just ready to take your head clean off your shoulders. And in doing so, he gets hit with a lot of strikes. Now, it's only a matter of time before that guy gets put down, because this division is far too good, with far too many good strikers to not be put down, and put down violently. But he also does the same to people. He puts people away in violent fashion. An unwilling gas tank comes forward, it's just in your face. That in itself can break fighters. Could break Eddie Alvarez here. He has the better chin, I think, as well. But like I'm saying, in that Michael Johnson fight, he get hit with 2 huge shots, nearly took a knee in both, nearly got put down, but come forward and was just throwing at Michael Johnson, and he broke Michael Johnson. I think he could do that too, but on that, I think he could definitely break a lot of fighters in that light heavyweight division, a lightweight division, I should say. He could definitely break people with his pace and his tenacity. It's incredible. He's just like a Terminator. He literally comes forward, chopping leg kicks, big uppercuts, big hands, but his chin is in there, so his chin is there to be hit at. Underrated wrestler as well. Do I see either guy using wrestling here? I don't see it in the slightest. This is going to be a slugfest. Initially, I was going to pick Eddie Alvarez, and then I watched and I'm thinking, right, who's got the better chin? I think that Gaethje just has, even though he does leave it in there. Who has the better pace? That's undoubtedly Justin Gaethje. I think Eddie Alvarez is really live, and I was very close to picking him here, but Justin Gaethje is pulling me in a little bit. I'm going to pick him via TKO in round number 2, but I'll put my hand in there. I think that Eddie Alvarez, if you want to bet Eddie Alvarez, I think that's a good bet, personally. It's a fight I'm going to pass. I'm just going to sit back and watch and enjoy it, because I think it's going to be fireworks from the get-go. Pick's going to be Justin Gaethje via second round TKO, but I think Eddie Alvarez is extremely live and can win this fight as well. Gaethje for the win there. Flyweight division with Henry Cejudo against Sergio Pettis. Great fight. Looking forward to this one. I'm seeing a lot of people on different sides. Very confident Pettis, some very confident Cejudo. I'm not confident in either guy. I think it's a great fight, but I know where I'm going to go with this one, and my pick will be Henry Cejudo. Love what I've seen against Wilson Hayes now. I know Wilson Hayes is old, he's a jiu-jitsu guy, but I like the fact that Henry Cejudo, he really started to look like he was using his range a lot more. He was mixing up with some nice kicks, and his hands looked fast as ever. It did in the Jose Benavidez fight as well. I thought he looked really, really good in that one. Potentially could have won that fight if he never got a point taken away. And he's got that underlying factor that he's a good wrestler. Sergio Pettis has been taken down in pretty much every fight that he's been in. Chris Kalades take him down. Brendan Moreno take him down. And he's not faced anywhere near as good a wrestler as what Henry Cejudo is. Not that Henry Cejudo really overly uses that too much, but it is something there that he can use and potentially win rounds through that. Sergio Pettis, technical striker, an extremely good technical striker. Went down to Mexico, got off to a rough start, lost the first round, then definitely came through, looked uber professional, won those 4 rounds, and put himself right in here. He wins this fight, he's probably next in line for a title shot in my opinion. I just think that Henry Cejudo's going to mix it up a little bit. I think it's going to be fairly even on the feet. I think that some people are disrespecting his striking. Now his striking, like I said, it's not great, but it's fast. And I just think that he could potentially hang with Pettis, where I don't think Pettis could hang on the ground with Henry Cejudo if Cejudo was to get those takedowns. The big thing is here that is Cejudo going to make the weight? That's what I'm kind of waiting to see. If he looks good at the weigh-ins, then I'll feel more confident in the pick. Like I said, I'm not going to bet this fight. Everybody that's been watching me for the longest time knows I'm such a huge fan of both Pettis brothers, but I think that Henry Cejudo is going to be my pick here. I just think that it's not Pettis' time yet. I think he needs to win a couple more fights. I think he'll do that personally, but I just like Henry Cejudo in this one here. But if you're betting Sergio Pettis, the line came out, he was plus 265. That's a stupid line in my opinion. So if you got that, or even anything over plus 200, plus 175, anything above that, I think it's a decent bet, because this fight could be close and he could potentially go out there and win fights fairly easily as well. So my pick's going to be Cejudo via decision. Kind of like 60-40 for me, percent-wise, what I think of that. So yeah, Cejudo's going to be the pick there. Heavyweight division. This is an interesting one as well. Alistair Overeem against the Predator, Francis Ngannou. Yeah, this is a fight that I've been going back and forward on, and initially my gut feeling, what I'm going to stick with my gut feeling on when I first heard and I first looked into the fights. We'll talk about Francis Ngannou, an absolute bulldozer of a heavyweight, in all honesty. He goes in there, and every fight you see massive jumps in skill. And what I love about what he's done here is that he's moved to Las Vegas and he's using that UFC Performance Institute to his advantage. Dewey Cooper is his boxing coach, so he's going to tighten up those hands. I watched that UFC Rising Stars program, and the power that guy has is unbelievable, with his whipping shots and his uppercut and his speed and velocity and all that jazz. And then you've seen him fight training with Vinny Magalhaes, so he's obviously working in that ground game with his submissions and so on. So it's really interesting to see this guy coming into the UFC, and he's taking it by storm. I mean, the one thing I always remember about Ngannou is that Anthony Hamilton fight where he just caught a hold of his arm and then literally threw the guy at the ground and submitted him in the Kimura. It's still one of my favourite things I've seen in a long time. That takes some crazy strength and some technique to do that as well. So Alistair Overeem, I like the way he's fighting later on in his career. I must admit, I really do. I thought he lost to Verdum. I thought Verdum did enough to win that fight. He fights very long, he fights very strategic moves, fights at a distance, and is very good in doing so. But when he comes in close, he's got a really brutal clinch game, brutal knees, got really nice leg kicks. The thing with this one is, can his chin hold up for 15 minutes? That is the big defining factor in my opinion. I think that Overeem's obviously fairly decent at the ground. He's got a lot of submission wins. I think Ngannou's got the raw strength to probably butt someone off like Alistair Overeem in those situations. But this is how I see this fight. If Francis lands, can he land in the 15 minutes? Absolutely. All it takes is one shot against Alistair Overeem, but all it takes is one shot for one shot for Ngannou, but I think all it takes is one shot from Overeem as well. He hurt Verdum, he hurt Miocic, so he's definitely got the power there in his hands to hurt guys. I'm going to pick Alistair Overeem. I'm going out with underdog here. This is another clear step up against a guy who's been around for the longest time, who can fight to a game plan really well. But I can see why people are going to pick and are very confident in Ngannou, because all it takes is not even a huge shot from Ngannou to put this guy down. We've seen that in the Arlovsky fight. Arlovsky's a little bit different, but he dodged that shot, came over with the left, and then hit him with a huge right to put Arlovsky down. That could happen in this one here. I just feel that Alistair Overeem could really frustrate Ngannou in this spot here, and just win the fight, fighting long, running away, as bad as it sounds, like he has done in other fights. And then I see him coming in close and he potentially getting shots off in the clinch, or maybe putting him against the cage and hitting him through there like he did with Struve. I know Ngannou is a different beast, and I'll probably take some flack for picking Alistair Overeem here, but I'm just going to take the shot. I'm not going to bet it, I'll say that, because it could land, a shot could land the first 10 seconds and it'd be over. But I'm going to pick Alistair Overeem to win via decision. Would not surprise me, obviously, if Ngannou wins this very, very quickly. But I think I'm just going to pick Alistair Overeem. I think that this is just a clear step up in opponent from who he's faced so far, and it's rightly so. He deserves an opponent like Alistair Overeem, who's right in line for a title shot. But I'm going to pick Reem. I'm going to pick him via decision. It might not be the most kind of fancy pick, and I'm sure people are going to totally disagree with me on this one. But I'm going to take the shot. Honestly, I want Francis Ngannou to win. I think that a 30-year-old heavyweight is something that the UFC needs. A young guy that they could possibly throw the belt on and keep for a few years, which is something heavyweights don't do. Stipe's doing a great job of it at the minute. I'm going to pick Alistair Overeem. Head saying Reem, heart is definitely saying Ngannou. But Reem's going to be the pick there, so let you guys let me know what you think of that pick, because I'm sure a lot of you are definitely going to be disagreeing with me. And the main event tonight, we have Max Holloway facing off against Jose Aldo in the rematch from back in the summer there, where Max Holloway beat the brakes off of Jose Aldo down in Brazil. And I was picking Max Holloway very, very strongly against Frankie Edgar. Very, very strongly. But I don't see any difference from this fight to the first one. I really don't. I only see Aldo, he's trying to get that belt back, but I think this guy is just clearly better than him. I think the sport is starting to pass Jose Aldo by a little bit. I don't think he's as fast as he used to be, and I know with those talks of he never used leg kicks in that first fight. I heard there was an injury, but honestly, I don't think even with the leg kicks it would have made a difference. I think Max Holloway would have got him out of there. I saw in the first round, Aldo started off fairly decent, but then Max Holloway started landing shots, and you can just see that the punch resistance is starting to go from Jose Aldo. And then once it got into the mid-round, he caught him with a nice combination 1-2, went down to the ground, and he started absolutely wailing the life out of Aldo. I think that fight should have actually been stopped a little bit sooner. Holloway, like I say in every video I make of his, the adjustments that guy makes, fight in, fight out, is incredible. I love that. It's one of the things I love watching about Max Holloway. It's just the adjustments from fighting at range to knowing when to go in close and to kind of change stance. He can do that. He can switch stance very, very well. And he just uses everything very, very well. And the guy's literally beat pretty much majority of the top 10 guys. So he beats Aldo here. Is there any reason for this guy to really stay around and dominate this division? I think the time is now where he could definitely move up to 155 and he could challenge for that belt as well. I don't see any difference from this fight to the first one. I picked Aldo in the first one. I thought people forgot that this guy is the best featherweight we've ever had. But I seen things in that fight from the new breed of fighter that is passing Jose Aldo by, and I'm going to pick Max Holloway to kind of win in the same fashion, win in the middle of the fight, third round. I think his shots will start to land on Aldo, and Aldo will go down and he'll get ground and pounded out of it. So Max Holloway, third round TKO there as he retains his belt and moves on. Hopefully we get the Edgar fight, because that's the fight I was looking forward to seeing. So that's my picks for UFC 218. I will have my picks out for UFC Tough 26 finale out the next few days. Keep an eye out for that. Let me know what your picks are, because I'm sure you're going to be disagreeing with me on some of them. Looking forward to chatting you with about that. Like, comment, subscribe. We're over 1,500, so let's keep it going, and let's aim for the 2,000 mark next. Appreciate all the support. Take care, all the best, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Peace.